Welcome, students. So, let's continue our NCERT Chapter 9, which is amines. And today we are going to see Theory Part 6. And we are going to cover section 9.7 to 9.9. This is disclaimer. So, what is the objective of today's lecture? So, after attending this lecture, you will be able to understand the concept which we are going to cover today. So, today we are going to discuss the method of preparation of diazonium salts, and we are going to see the physical and chemical properties of diazonium salt. Now, for reference, I have mapped the NCERT sections which we are going to cover today. Today, we will be covering section 9.7, method of preparation of diazonium salts. We will cover section 9.8, that is physical properties. We are going to cover section 9.9, chemical properties. Okay, so let's start with today's lecture. So we are going to see first the preparation of diazonium salts. So first we will focus on diazotization. So this diazotization is an important process, especially when we are working with amines. Okay, let us see what is this diazotization about. So diazotization, it acts as a versatile building block. Okay, this means it allows us to create a wide variety of benzene derivatives, which are compounds based on benzene ring. So I can say that this process is central to making many useful chemicals, including dyes and pharmaceuticals. Now let's look at the general formula for diazonium salts. So the general formula of diazonium salts is Rn2 plus X minus. So if you'll see over here, we have Rn2 plus and X minus. So we will break down each of the term. First, if we focus on N2 plus part, then this is the diazonium group. So this group is what makes diazonium salts special and reactive. So if you'll see over here, it is a positively charged group which contains 2 nitrogen atoms. Next, we have the X minus part. So the X minus ion is the anionic counterpart to this positively charged diazonium group, which is N2 plus. So X minus can be any negative ion, such as it can be chloride, Cl minus, bromide, Br minus, or hydrogen sulfate, which is HSO4 minus, or tetrafluoroborate, which is BF4 minus. Choice of X minus, it can affect the stability and the reactivity of the diazonium salt. Now, if we talk about R, then R in the formula, it stands for an aryl group, which means a group derived from benzene or similar rings. Now, it is important to note that if R is an aliphatic group, the diazonium salt becomes unstable and it quickly turns into alcohol. Okay, so you have to focus on this, that if it is aliphatic, then diazonium salts are unstable and it immediately forms alcohols. Now let us look at the specific example. So we will use methylamine, which reacts with nitrous acid to form a diazonium salt. So look at this particular reaction. You have methylamine, which reacts with nitrous acid, which is HNO2, at a temperature range of 273 to 278 Kelvin. So this forms this methyl diazonium chloride. Now this methyl diazonium chloride is unstable and it quickly breaks down in water to give methanol, nitrogen gas and hydrogen chloride. Okay. Now we are going to focus on the reaction between nitrous acid and aromatic amines. So we will see that how nitrous acid is prepared and how it reacts with aromatic amines to form diazonium salts. So first let us see the preparation of nitrous acid. Now one thing which you need to notice is that this is an unstable acid. So we have to make it right before we use it. So which is called we prepare it in situ. Okay, this means that we generate it directly in the reaction mixture rather than storing it ahead of time. So to prepare nitrous acid, we react a mineral acid like a hydrochloric acid with sodium nitrite, which is NaNO2. So this is a common laboratory method because both the reactants are stable as well as they are easy to handle. If you look at this reaction, we have sodium nitrite, which is NaNO2. When this react with HCl, it gives us nitrous acid, which is HNO2, and HCl, and sodium chloride, which is NaCl. Now, see the reaction of nitrous acid with primary aromatic amines, like we will talk about aniline. So, this process is called diazotization. So, it is important to note one thing in this reaction, that this reaction must be done at a lower temperature, typically between 273 and 278 Kelvin, so that we can ensure that the product is stable. Now, during diazotization, the aromatic amines, they react with cold nitrous acid to form a stable aromatic diazonium salt. So these salts, they are very useful in organic synthesis, especially for making dyes. Remember, you have to keep the temperature low, okay? Or the diazonium salts, they can decompose. So look at the reaction. When aromatic primary amine, it reacts with nitrous acid and hydrogen chloride at a temperature range of 273 to 278 Kelvin, we get aromatic diazonium chloride, okay, and H2O. So you can say simply that nitrous acid, it reacts with a primary aromatic amine like aniline. So this process is called diazotization. So during diazotization, the aromatic amines, you can say, this reacts with a cold nitrous acid to form a stable aromatic diazonium chloride. Now we will see the stability of the aromatic diazonium salts. So first see that the aromatic diazonium salts, they are generally more stable than the aliphatic diazonium salts. So this increased stability comes from extended resonance. Okay, so resonance means that electrons in the molecules, they can spread out over several atoms, which helps to lower the energy and make the compound more stable. However, even though these aromatic diazonium salts, they are more stable, they can still decompose if the temperature gets high enough. So when we heat these salts, they start to break down. So when a diazonium salt decomposes, it releases nitrogen gas, which is this N2 gas. At the same time, it forms reactive intermediates, and these are short-lived particles that can quickly react with other substances. So the release of the nitrogen gas is often visible as bubbling or fizzing, and this is a sign that decomposition is happening. Now look at the resonating structures of the aromatic diazonium ion, that is C6H5N2+. So you can see the positive charge and the electrons, they move around the ring and the nitrogen atoms. Okay, so this positive charge is moving around the ring and the nitrogen atoms. So the movement of electrons or resonance, it gives the aromatic diazonium salts its extra stability. Now we are going to see the physical properties of amines. First is that amines, they are colorless crystalline solids. This means they have a definite shape and structure, and you won't see any color in their pure form. Next is that amines, they are soluble in water. This means they can dissolve in water, forming a clear solution. So solubility is important because it affects how amines can be used in chemical reactions, especially when we talk in aqueous solutions. Next property is that amines, they are stable in cold water but react with warm water. This tells us that temperature can change how amines behave. So in cold water, they don't react, but if you heat the water, a reaction can occur. So this, you can say, is a good example of how the temperature, it affects the chemical stability. Now if we talk about C6H5N2 plus BF4 minus, which is benzene diazonium tetrafluoroborate, then this is water insoluble, stable at room temperature. So basically its insolubility is due to its non-polar nature, and its stability stems from the resonance stabilization of the diazonium ion and the weak coordination of the BF4 minus anion. Now let us see the different types of reactions that diazonium salts can undergo. So now we will talk about chemical reactions of diazonium salts. So first see that the reactions of diazonium salts, they are generally divided into two main categories. First category is the reaction that involves the displacement of nitrogen. So what happens in this reaction? The nitrogen group in the diazonium salt, it is replaced by another atom or group. So this is a common way to introduce different substituents into an aromatic ring. So what happens here? The diazonium group, which is the N2+, it can be replaced by chloride, bromide, cyanide, iodide, fluoride, hydrogen, hydroxide, or nitro. So these are all examples of nucleophilic substitution reactions where a nucleophile, it replaces the diazonium group. Now it is important to note that the diazonium group, which is N2+, is considered to be one of the best leaving groups. This means it can easily detach from the molecule, making these substitution reactions very efficient. Now when the diazonium group leaves, it forms dinitrogen gas, which is N2. This molecule is extremely stable, neutral, and unreactive. So the formation of such a stable product, this is the key reason why these reactions proceed so smoothly. Now because N2 gas is so stable, its formation actually drives the reaction forward. So this makes the overall process thermodynamically favorable, meaning the reaction naturally wants to go in the direction, which is the forward direction. Next, the second category is the reaction where the diazo group is retained. So in these cases, the diazonium group, it acts as an electrophile, and being an electrophile, it reacts with electron-rich species, such as phenols or anilines in the coupling reactions. Now, this leads to the formation of a brightly colored azo compounds. Now, one by one, let us discuss the categories of the reactions. First, we saw the reactions involving displacement of nitrogen. First, we will see Sandmeyer reaction. So, this reaction is a very classic method which is used to replace the nitrogen group in an aromatic diazonium salt with another atom like a chlorine, bromine, or a cyano group. So this method, it is widely used in the synthesis of aromatic compounds, especially when we want to introduce new functional groups onto a benzene ring. So to carry out the Sandmeyer reaction, we use cuprous salts, such as we use cuprous chloride, which is Cu2Cl2. We use cuprous bromide, which is Cu2Br2, or we use cuprous cyanide, which is CuCl. So these are dissolved in the corresponding halogen acid. Like for CuCl2, it is dissolved in hydrochloric acid. Okay. For chloride, or hydrobromic acid for the bromide. Okay. So the choice of the salt and acid determines that which group will replace the nitrogen into aromatic ring. Okay. So for cuprous chloride, we can use hydrochloric acid, or for cuprous bromide, we can use hydrobromic acid. Now look at the reactions, this will be more clear. So if we are using cuprous chloride in hydrochloric acid, that is Cu2Cl2 in presence of hydrochloric acid, then you will see when we react it with aromatic diazonium salt, then this nitrogen is replaced by a chlorine atom, which forms an aryl chloride and the nitrogen gas. Okay, so clearly see this N2 is replaced by Cl, forming aryl chloride. Similarly, if we use cuprous bromide in hydrobromic acid, so you will see when we treat it with aromatic diazonium salt, then the nitrogen group is replaced by a bromine atom, which forms an aryl bromide and nitrogen gas. Okay, so this you can see is very similar to above example, just here we are using a different halogen. Here we were using chlorine, here we are using bromine. So this shows us that how we can control the outcome if we are changing these reagents. Now if we use a cuprous cyanide or potassium cyanide, then you will see this nitrogen group is replaced by a cyano group, which gives us an aryl cyanide and nitrogen gas. So this is a very useful way to introduce a nitrile group into an aromatic ring. Okay, and this can be further transformed into another functional group. So these were the different reactions of aromatic diazonium salt with Cu2Cl2, which is cuprous chloride, cuprous bromide, and cuprous cyanide. Now next we will see Gettermann reaction. So in this reaction, instead of using a cuprous halide, we use a copper metal powder along with an appropriate halogen acid like hydrochloric acid or hydrobromic acid. So this method is specially useful for preparing aryl chlorides and bromides from aromatic diazonium salts. So here you can see that the copper powder over here, it acts as a catalyst, and the halogen acid, it provides the halide ion which is needed for the reaction. So let us understand this by an example. Suppose if we use hydrochloric acid, then we get an aryl chloride as the product. So you can say this is a very practical way to introduce a chlorine or bromine atom into an aromatic ring by removing the nitrogen group. So look at this particular reaction. The aromatic diazonium salt, which is ArN2 plus X minus, when it reacts with copper and HCl, it forms aryl chloride and N2 gases released over here. Okay? So you will see this N2 group is replaced by this chlorine over here. So it forms aryl chloride. Similarly, if we use hydrobromic acid instead of hydrochloric acid, then here we get the product as aryl bromide along with the nitrogen gas. Okay, so here we are using copper with hydrogen bromide with hydrobromic acid, that is HBr. Okay, so in this we get an aryl bromide. So the Gettermann's reaction, it allows us to substitute the nitrogen group in aromatic diazonium salts with either chlorine or bromine depending upon the acid which is used. Now next we will see about the formation of aryl iodide. So this is a specific example where an iodine atom, it takes the place of nitrogen in an aromatic compound. So to carry out this reaction, we warm the diazonium salt solution with potassium iodide, which is Ki. So potassium iodide, what does it do? It provides the iodide ion, which will replace the nitrogen group. So if you see over the reaction, we warm the aromatic diazonium chloride with potassium iodide, and this potassium iodide, it provides this iodide ion, okay, which replaces the nitrogen group and forms iodoarine. Okay, so you will see this N2 is replaced by this iodine over here. So it forms iodoarine and potassium chloride and nitrogen gas. So this is about the formation of aryl iodide. Next, we will see the formation of aryl fluorides. So aryl fluorides, they are aromatic compounds where a fluorine atom is attached directly to the benzene ring. Okay. So the main method for preparing aryl fluorides from aromatic amines is Bell-Schiemann reaction. So this reaction is this reaction is especially useful because direct fluorination of aromatic ring is quite difficult. So this Bell-Schiemann reaction, it provides a practical way to introduce fluorine into aromatic ring. So if we see about this reaction, then this reaction occurs in two main steps. First step, it prepares a special intermediate, and the second step converts that intermediate into the final aryl fluoride product. Okay, let us discuss each step in detail. So in step 1, we start with aromatic diazonium chloride and we treat it with tetrafluoroboric acid, which is HBF4. So this causes the formation of a solid which is called aromatic diazonium tetrafluoroborate, which separates out as a precipitate. Okay, and if you'll see, that is ArN2 plus BF4 minus. So if you look at this reaction, then aromatic diazonium chloride, it reacts with tetrafluoroboric acid and it forms aromatic diazonium tetrafluoroborate and hydrochloric acid. Okay. Now what happens in step 2? We take the precipitated aromatic diazonium tetrafluoroborate, we filter and dry it, and then we heat it. So what does this heat do? This heat causes the compound to break down, which releases the nitrogen gas and forms the desired aryl fluoride. So this is the step where you will see the actual displacement of nitrogen happens, which results in the introduction of fluorine into aromatic ring. So we'll see over here the overall reaction. When aromatic diazonium tetrafluoroborate, it is heated and it gives us aryl fluoride, nitrogen gas and boron trifluoride. So if we'll see over here the nitrogen gas, it escapes as bubbles. So this shows us that how the nitrogen is displaced and it is replaced by fluorine, which completes this transformation. So this is about the Bell-Schiemann reaction. Now we will see formation of benzene from diazonium salts. So this is a very classic example where the nitrogen group, it is replaced, and it is specially important in the synthesis of aromatic compounds. So here we see that the mild reducing agents like hypophosphorus acid, which is H3PO2, or ethanol, which is CH3CH2OH, they can be used to reduce the diazonium group into aromatic diazonium salts to arenes. Now the diazonium salt, you know all, it is a compound where a nitrogen group, it is attached to an aromatic ring. So these agents, they help remove that nitrogen group, and they will themselves get oxidized to phosphorus acid and ethanol. So look at this reaction. Here aromatic diazonium chloride, it reacts with hypophosphorus acid, which is H3PO2, and water to produce benzene, which is an arene, that is ARH, and nitrogen gas, phosphorus acid, and hydrochloric acid. So here you will see the nitrogen gas is released, which is a sign that nitrogen group is replaced, or you can say it is displaced over here. So this is a very useful reaction for converting diazonium salts directly into arenes like an benzene. So look at this specific reaction. Here you will see aromatic diazonium chloride. It now reacts with ethanol to form benzene, nitrogen gas, acetaldehyde, and hydrochloric acid. So over here again this N2 gas is released, confirming the displacement of nitrogen. Okay, so you can see both hypophosphorus acid and ethanol, they can be used to convert the diazonium salts into benzene with the release of nitrogen gas as a byproduct. Okay, now we will see the formation of phenol from the diazonium salts. So here a nitrogen is displaced and a new functional group is introduced. So here diazonium salts, they react with warmed water or steam to produce phenol. So the main key point over here is that the nitrogen group is replaced by a hydroxyl group, which forms a phenol. And this reaction also releases nitrogen gas, which is a physical change which you can observe as bubbles. Now, one thing, that temperature plays a role over here. Okay, if you're warming the mixture, it speeds up the reaction. Okay, so look at the specific reaction. Aromatic diazonium chloride, when it reacts with water, when warmed, it will produce phenol, nitrogen gas, and hydrochloric acid. Okay, so the N2 gas you will see is released over here. So this is about the formation of phenol from aromatic diazonium chloride. Now we will see formation of nitroarene. So nitroarene is a compound where a nitro group, which is a NO2 group, is attached to an aromatic ring. So in this reaction, we start with diazonium tetrafluoroborate, where you will see this is a compound that contains a nitrogen group attached to an aromatic ring. When we treat it with sodium nitrite, which is NaNO2, and copper powder, we will see that the nitrogen group is replaced by a nitro group, which forms nitroarene. And this process also releases N2 gas. So if you see over here, then what is the main role of copper? So copper over here acts as a catalyst which helps the reaction proceed. So look at this overall reaction. Aromatic diazonium tetrafluoroborate, when reacts with sodium nitrite and copper with heat, it produces a nitroarene, sodium tetrafluoroborate, and nitrogen gas. Okay, so you will see that this N2 group over here is displaced, or you can say it is replaced by a nitro group. Okay, now we are going to see another category, which is reactions involving retention of diazo group. First, we are going to talk about coupling reaction. So this is a very special kind of reaction where two molecules join together. So in coupling reaction, the main process is electrophilic substitution. Okay, this means an electron-rich molecule like an aromatic ring. It reacts with an electrophile. Here the diazonium ion, they act as an electrophile, and the aromatic compounds, they provide the electrons. So if we see over here, then electron-rich aromatic compounds such as phenols and anilines, they are especially good at attacking the diazonium group. Okay, this is because they have electrons which are available, which makes this reaction easier and faster. Now, when this reaction happens, it forms brightly colored compounds which are called azo compounds. Okay, and the general structure is AR N double bond N AR dash, where this AR stands for an aromatic group. So these azo compounds, they are widely used as dyes because of their vivid colors. So look at this diagram over here. Okay, this is the whole process which is showing over here. So you will see this oxygen with its lone pair will form this double bond. This bond will move from here, and you will see this forms this intermediate. And further, this chloride ion takes away this hydrogen. Okay, these bonds move here, and this OH gets neutral. So there is release of HCl. So this is what we call a azo compound, which is AR N double bond N and AR dash. Okay, here you will see a OH group is attached to this ring over here. Okay. Now we were discussing about coupling reactions. So over here, when benzene diazonium chloride, it reacts with phenol in a mildly alkaline medium, which means the pH is between 9 and 10. So the reaction is carried out at a low temperature, which is around 273 to 278 Kelvin. The product which is formed is called para-hydroxyazobenzene. Okay. So the product of this reaction is an orange colored dye. So this is important because it demonstrates that how reactions can be used to create substances with specific colors. So if you look over the reaction, when benzene diazonium chloride, it reacts with phenol in presence of hydroxide and this temperature range, it forms para-hydroxyazobenzene. Okay, so this is a para-hydroxyazobenzene. So you will see over here that this carries out in a temperature range which is 273 to 278 Kelvin. Okay, so this is the final product which is para-hydroxyazobenzene, which is a orange dye. Now we will see that when benzene diazonium chloride, it reacts with aniline in an acidic medium. That means we need hydrogen ions present. So this reaction is carried out low temperature between 273 to 278 Kelvin. And the product which we get here is para-aminoazobenzene, which is an example of an azo dye. So the key feature in this reaction is formation of an azo linkage, which is N double bond N. So this linkage you will see connects two aromatic ring, which makes this compound highly colored. So look at this reaction. Here benzene diazonium chloride reacts with aniline in the presence of acid at 273 to 278 Kelvin. It forms para-aminoazobenzene over here. Okay, so see over here the azo linkage between the two rings over here. So this is a specific reaction when a benzene diazonium chloride reacts with aniline in presence of H+, it gives this para-aminobenzene, okay, which is a yellow colored dye. Okay, now let us summarize whatever we have studied in today's lecture. So we started by diazotization. So this is a process when we take a primary aromatic amine and react it with nitrous acid at low temperature. So this results in an aromatic diazonium salt, which is Rn2 plus X minus. Okay. Now the aromatic diazonium salts, they are quite stable compared to other diazonium compounds. So this stability makes them very useful as intermediates in organic synthesis. Next, we talked about the Sandmeyer reaction. Then over here we see that when this aromatic diazonium salts react with Cu2Cl2 in presence of HCl, it forms ArCl and N2 gas is being released. Similarly, we use copper bromide and hydrobromic acid. So the diazonium group is replaced by a bromine atom which forms this and ArBr, which is aryl bromide and N2 gas. And if we use copper cyanide and potassium cyanide, then the diazonium group is replaced by a cyano group which gives aryl nitrile and nitrogen gas. Next, we discuss about Getterman reaction. So in this reaction, an aromatic diazonium salt, it reacts with copper and hydrochloric acid to form aryl chloride and nitrogen gas is being released. If we use copper and hydrobromic acid instead of hydrochloric acid, then the diazonium salt is converted into aryl bromide, which is ArBr, and nitrogen gas is being released. Then we discussed about aryl iodide formation. So in this, the aromatic diazonium chloride, it reacts with potassium iodide to form aryl iodide, which is ARI, potassium chloride and nitrogen gas is being released. Then we discussed about Bal-Schiemann reaction. So this is a method for making aryl fluorides. So this happens in two steps. In step 1, it involves reacting the aromatic diazonium chloride with HbF4. Okay, so this forms a new salt which is diazonium tetrafluoroborate, which is more stable. So look at the reaction. Diazonium chloride and HbF4 reacts to form over here ArN2 plus BF4 minus and HCl. Now in step 2, the actual fluorination happens. When we heat the diazonium tetrafluoroborate, it decomposes to give aryl fluoride, which is ArF, boron trifluoride gas and nitrogen gas. So see over here, what happens when ArN2 plus BF4 minus is when heated, it gives ArF, BF3 and N2 gas. Next, we discuss about formation of benzene. So here in this reaction, when ArN2 plus Cl minus reacts with H3PO2 and water, it produces benzene, phosphorus acid and hydrochloric acid and nitrogen gas. Or we can say in this method, the diazonium salt reacts with ethanol and the product is again an benzene, but this time we get acetaldehyde, hydrochloric acid and nitrogen gas. Then we talked about formation of phenol from diazonium salts. So here the diazonium salts react with water. When warmed, it produces phenol, hydrochloric acid and nitrogen gas. Okay, so notice over here that only new group introduced is the hydroxyl group, which is converting the aromatic amine into phenol. Next, we talk about formation of nitroarene. So in this reaction, diazonium salts react with tetrafluoroborate, which is heated with sodium nitrite and copper. So we get nitroarene, sodium tetrafluoroborate and nitrogen gas. Okay. Next, we talked about the coupling with phenols. So here, what happens is that when you see over here, when C6H5N2 plus Cl minus, it reacts with the phenol in the presence of hydroxide ion at a temperature between 273 to 278 Kelvin. The product is para-hydroxyazobenzene, okay, which is a compound where two rings are joined by nitrogen-nitrogen double bond. Then we talked about coupling with aniline. So here in this reaction, you will see when aniline, this reacts with this compound in presence of H plus at 273 to 278 Kelvin, we get para-aminoazobenzene, where the two benzene rings are connected by N double bond N and one ring has an amino group at para position. Okay. So thank you so much students for your attention. I hope the lesson was helpful. Thank you.